Go ahead. Yeah, part 2 rev. It's 2:50 in the afternoon. I'm going to be showing up on the power bills, that's for damn sure. September 3rd, 2024. And I'm still stuck on my maps looking at the cruise ports. I'm staying away from the Rancho Palos Verdes. That's in the last video and other videos. Right now, I've got the cruise bug in my mouth, and I wish I hadn't. Sometimes I go on the Google Maps just to see what these places are like. And other times I look at the places that I've already been to. Ships I hadn't gone, but I am just having a conniption fit on this one. Okay, so in the last video, you probably saw, I got you hung in, high and dry with the Rancho Palos Verdes, and I kind of shoved you over to the Port of Los Angeles and Port of Long Beach. Port of Long Beach. Well, I'm going to add a little bit of history on this one here. When Marineland shut down, it had been a long while since we've actually had an aquarium out here with live sea life in there. So about 30 years ago, they actually did build something like that, called it Aquarium of the Pacific. Ma and I were over there. I think on the inauguration day they had opening up, and we saw it. It was cool. It was cool. They still needed more work, but it was still cool. And I still couldn't stand the creepy things. I can't stand crabs. I can't stand creepy things in the ocean. Just creeping along with claws and ice stalks going over the damn place. And short, squat, and ugly-looking things. And you got the elongated lobsters and crayfish and stuff. Ugh, creepy. Even worse than that, octopus. I'm not a seafood lover. I'm sorry. I got used to beef and chicken and chicken. Steaks, pork chops. No, with pork. But it was an outing for the family and I to go out there. I still got a Christmas decoration that I'd gotten from a long time ago, buried in one of my Christmas trees I still have out here. Yeah, I still have it there, small portable trees, not the big monsters, but the small ones I've got. They add atmosphere to the place that I need, if not cobwebs. And I was trying to talk about the cruising. If I go back over to on Google Maps and go for the Port of Los Angeles, I'll go to the edge where it's going into the breakwater. Show you this stuff. Not too many people will take you back to the harbors, will they? Oh, okay. Well, maybe I will. Because in this area also we have the federal prison system over here. We have Terminal Island. If you're a very bad boy and you're proven to be a very bad boy with the federal government system, they may send you out here to the coastline. And out here you'll be dealing with Coast Guard stations, but also you'll be dealing with the Terminal Island. Enclosed, but you'll still be among the fish and you'll still be among the cruising stuff. And it's no picnic out there either. It's not a place for a picnic. If you want a worse federal area, I can show you over here in Lancaster. I'm not going to. We're doing cruising, pal. So you're seeing the water entryway. Breakwater that we have. And an extended breakwater that creates channels for ships and platforms and stuff to have a break into strong ocean currents, because they do and they will cause problems with the docks that we have over here, concerning about how much shipping that we have coming in and out of the ports. Not to mention through the LA River. We got stuff coming from the LA River down into the waters. And there are a bit of cruise ports in this area for smaller ships and larger ships. But I wanted to show about Port Los Angeles because this is where my brother and I actually took a cruise trip. I know there's long stories. I probably told you about this. Ma being the bookkeeping income tax specialist saved a guy some money. He rewards us with 2 cruise ships. Ma gets the longer one. Dave and I get the short step. But still, first time we all been on a cruise ships. Monarch of the Seas for David and me, and Sun Princess for Mama and Dee. Mary Dolores Butchers Reeve. God bless her. God rest her soul. Both of them. Through the Port of Los Angeles, I talked to you about World Trade, World Cruising Terminal. And I was mentioning about the Royal Caribbean ship there. Monarch of the Seas, about 20 years ago, got scrapped. I think it was like a year or two after Dave and I had sailed on her. And she was an old ship back in the 90s. But she was a good ship. Been through refits. But they decided it wasn't economical. So they decided to send her into the scrapyard. Depressing as hell. But this was the area that Dave and I went into. See the parking structure they got over there. When Ma, Dave, and I and Dee had driven down here for the first time, we'd seen how the original Sun Princess looked. She was white, she was angular, she had a point on the bow. She looked sleek. And dare I mention the S word on this one? She was sexy. I fell in love with the ship. I fell in love with the ship. And begged to go on the ship instead of D. 10 days in Mexico? You gotta be kidding me. Dave and I would do 3 days then in Ensenada. We came over on the freeway and we were getting off the passes. That's when we saw the ship, and Johnny had to go crazy over that damn thing. Even when we were leaving Ma and Dee at the terminal, they're already checked in. They're ready to get on board the ship. We decided to get the hell. We decided to disembark ourselves away from the place. Went across the street to a restaurant, had food, then went back home. That small niche that you see in the cruise port, that's where the ship was at. It was smaller because back then they weren't focusing on the mega ships just yet. Dave and I cruised back in 2002. Ma did too. So 20 years ago, we had the smaller ships. This picture I'm looking at is dated 2024, so we got the mega ships in the other ports. I mean, there are other cruise companies out there that use the smaller ships, and they will be able to use that one. But there's also, if I get out of the jet, if I get out of the lane here, go over to the breakwater, follow the breakwater to the right, going past terminals. We had a truckers strike at one time. Place got shut down. Dock workers go on strike, place gets shut down. Economy goes screwy during those days. We get into so much issues out here in California, I'll tell you. But here we are. I just scrolled right over to the Long Beach, part of Long Beach, where you see the Queen Mary. You haven't been on the Queen Mary, have you? I was kind of shaking the head. She's haunted at nighttime. During the daytime, she may be haunted, but since there's a lot of energy going on with a lot of human beings about, spirits cannot talk to you or interact with you. But it's only at nighttime that you hear the stories concerning about the ghosts that walk. Most of the Halloweens that I remembered, they were having it on the Queen Mary, except for the COVID days. Then after that, they started it up again. But also, the Queen Mary had been deteriorating as well throughout the years. Salt water is eating at their hull, so they had to get some. They had to get this ship still reinstalled, restored. There was a lot of pushback back and forth on that one. Who was going to pay for it? But they finally decided after they got sufficient enough funds, they were working on it like crazy to get it restored. She's a floating hotel. And she's gorgeous to look at inside and out. My brother and I have been on an evening tour. We didn't feel any cold shivers. Darn. Too much human activity on board the ship. Scared the hell out of people. There's other side stories I know, so I'll tell you about them another time. But it'll be a nice place to take a look during the daytime. During the nighttime, not quite sure about that one going down below decks. On the outside, you'll see a dome out there. Spruce Goose was being built during World War II by Howard Hughes. And he wanted a light plane made of non-reflective material, wood basically. And he wanted it strong enough to be flying, carrying heavy equipment, especially if it's needed. Only one time shot in the Bay of San Francisco. But during that time, the war had ended and she never flew again. But she was important history. To the point where they decided to have it back in the 80s of having that ship out here. So they built a containment dome that would have been the museum piece for it. Half the dome they took out, facing the water. They backed her in there. And they had her secured. And then they enclosed it. My brother and I had been on the first day when they were showing the Spruce Goose, and man, they didn't like us on camera. Me and my brother. Language. Well, when you see two excited guys looking at this ship here, you imagine in your head right now what the conversations would have been like. And that's why they couldn't put us on camera, because of that language. Anybody else they would, or interview? Not us two. My brother being a salty sailor, and me hanging around a salty sailor. Used an imagination on that one, I rev. It's only after, I think in the 2000, that somewhere up north in Oregon or Washington, one of those two places, that they decided to have the Spruce Goose up there. And they took her out of Long Beach. And there went the tourist area. They still had the Queen Mary, but they still had to have other things out there to keep the people out there so they have the tourist bucks. But Carnival, I think, was getting sick and tired of using the World Trade Cruising Terminal because everybody else was using the damn thing. So they made their own. They bought the area, took it over, they renovated the entire area in there, added more buildings, and renovated the entire dome inside out to where they could put their own ships at dock over there. To this day, I hadn't seen it since, except on YouTube's. Would I like to go on a Carnival cruise? Probably. Be cheap enough anyway. But the only places to go is Mexico. Or if I'm going to go on a world cruise or long-term cruise, Carnivals don't do that. Usually sticking along the coastline. I haven't seen too many Carnival ships going out to Hawaii and back. If there were going to be anything cruise ships happening going up to Alaska, it's usually up in the Washington, Canada region. If there were the longer terms, coming out of San Francisco. But Carnival usually stays out here in the southern waters, unless they're on the East Coast and then they're sailing all over the damn place. But not out here as much in the West Coast. They'll do the Mexican runs. Maybe there's going to be long-term runs going out to buoying back. And if they do that, they'll hang around Catalina for a short time and then go out. Yeah, you saw the slight pause right there I got. Nostalgia, memories, feelings. Wish this could have happened, wish that could have happened. Oh yeah, the triggers. The memories that I had with my brother concerning about our trip out to Ensenada and back. She may have been the ugliest looking ship at one time, but man, she was still... I miss that old ship. Monarch of the Seas. I miss that old boat. I first saw her when Dave and I were going out, our second trip out to the pier. And we saw this old boat. Reverend, if you could kindly put it into your Google search engine or whatever you're using for a search browser, type out Monarch of the Seas. Head to the images. She may have been an ugly looking ship for some people, but man, she was our ship. I saw this cranky old biddy. I'm saying, that's our ship? They go, yep. You gotta be kidding me. Nope. We got scammed. I was looking at this ship. She looked like a tired workhorse. She had already been refitted because we already had restaurants opening up in the place. She'd already been going through a lot. She also had a rock climbing wall. Now, on the original pictures of the Monarch, they didn't have the rock climbing walls on the stern end, and that was where the athletic area was at. They have an older picture of her, of the thing, without the refit. And this was coming out of Miami. Now, either Port Canaveral or... No, it had to be Miami. Had to be Miami on that one. I tried to be familiar with. And she was doing the Los Angeles runs. And it was just... I don't know, at first she looked like the most pathetic ship I've ever seen. The angle of the bow, of the bow. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. The structure on top of it. Yeah, she looked like a 3 or 4 day dog. I mean, I was going off on the deep end on this one in my head on this as I was looking at her originally. But this was our 3 day, and we were grateful. And I was still looking at this ugly ship, and I'm thinking, this is the damn dog we're going to be taking? Oh my God, we are in trouble. But we were not thinking of that line all the time. You ever heard of the comedian Red Skelton? Oh, come on, you haven't heard of him. Okay, thank you. Red Skelton was doing these lines like crazy. One of them happened to be on an old classic radio we were listening to. And one of the comedy schemes, and I wish we had that tape recorder on this one. This was funny. He was doing Heathcliff and Gertrude, two seagulls. And the scenario was, they're at a pier, and they're on They're watching at the down and below in the waters right by the dock. Two guys in a small rowboat called a dinghy. Heathcliff, what, Gertrude? Take a look down there. What do you see? I don't know. What are you saying? Two dinghies in a dinghy. His delivery on this one got my brother and me roaring in the car. And we're doing this joke again and again. We're just killing ourselves in the car. By the time we got into the cruise port, it was still stuck in our head more than instead of looking at this tired dog of a ship. We didn't care at that point. We're going to be going sailing on this monster. So, we've been on board. We're excited, but we're also going to check the place out. First off, we need to go get some food. In the top portion of the ship, top deck of Monarch of the Seas, is cafe area. They got the buffet. They also have other cafes, but they have this ring around it in the front area. And there are observation areas too. My brother and I are sitting and eating our food, and we're looking down at the bow. The bow is still in the dock. Oh my God, the joke came up. Dave's, John. Heathcliff. What, Gertrude? What do you see down there? I don't know. What do you see down there? He goes, two dinghies in a dinghy. We're cracking up again because of the joke. We had several other people around us hearing this thing, hearing our laughter, like, what? And then we had to do the joke again. And they're telling other people about this. So we must have had about 20 or 30 people crowded at the windows. The guys down below who are working on the dock, they're not aware that they're the butt of the joke. Oh God, we must have had a hell of a laughter that time. It set off the icebreaker. Instead of being nervous and scared and paying attention to that damn thing, I think I was actually looking forward to this shit. But oh man, I wish I could have just had dinner that night with my brother. I was too damn excited. I slept. And in the middle of the night, I was feeling it. And I was feeling the slight motion of it. And I was just laying down enjoying it. It's like, I know you. I know that feeling, Rev. You feel an emotion of the ocean. You're one with the waves. And some of the people are probably like, oh. I was at peace. And my brother was snoring. He was at peace. An old sailor dog like him. He still had his sea legs. Early in the morning, it's about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm grabbing our video gear. I'm going to take some pictures as well. I'm going up to the top deck. Got coffee there. Brought the coffee to the top portion of the deck, outside. And I'm looking out there. We're so close to Ensenada, we could smell it. We're going to be sliding in, but it'll take us about an hour just to get into port. I'm drinking the coffee. There's another person out there. We're watching this. I don't think you want to eat that, Ma. Hang on. Sorry, I had to keep an eye on my dog. I saw Mexico again in my lifetime. Further south than what I had been originally. First time was going through Tijuana, was with my family and we're driving through. Or actually doing a walk tour into it and taking cabs to get around. But a long time ago we were actually physically able to do stuff. And me and Dave, we were on the ship. And in the morning he wasn't awake. He was still asleep. And I'm trying to film and say hell with it. Just watch this stuff. And just drink in the adventure. And then we almost had an adventure that hours later. One of the rules when you're out there out and about is you never show your green. You have to know and keep the figures in your head. You don't flash it. My brother kept telling me this for years. What do you do? He forgets the damn shit. Sorry. And we're going out there to get a tie. In order to deal with the dining room, we had to have a tie for a formal night. I hated that. So, the local touristy areas didn't have it, but there was a bit of a department store half a block away or half a mile away. So Dave and I hoofed it. He's still nursing injuries on his knees, so he's not all that mobile, but his senses are going crazy at this point. And not to mention he's berating himself after we pick up two-legged coyotes following us. We lost him in the crowd in the tourist areas, got with our tourist group on the bus, and then we were safe. We saw a bit of cultural dances going on, concert going on. Then we headed back to the boat. And then we were safe. But yeah, we almost got nailed by the coyotes out there. When we left the boat, I didn't want to leave Rev. I did not want to leave. I didn't want to leave her. She was gorgeous. She was gorgeous. I kept trying to keep track of her, and then when I found out that she was scrapped, man, and I saw the images on the ground, when I saw the images of that one, it just at times, Reverend, you actually can feel part of something that feels like a part of your life one way or another. I have been trying to follow through the cruising areas for a long while. I'm not exactly up to speed on a lot of things, but I tell you, she was gorgeous. She had her charms, Reverend. She had her charms. I was grateful for being in it. And I miss her. I miss her. I can only have so many images of this ship. But I miss that grand old lady. And she was a grand old lady. Anyway, sorry for wasting your time like this. If she was still on sailing, I'd sail her too again. Because she felt like home. Maybe I got too much nostalgia for the old biddy. But granted, I missed that old babe. Small theater, but she was still comfortable. And it just felt like I missed out on a lot of things. You know, we had an inside cabin. I wish we had the one with the portal. That would have been better. Would have waken up to the sights and sounds. Yeah, I miss her. Ma never did sail on her. She never did. And they got the Voyager classes. They got the larger classes that would make her look like. Oh man. Well, now they're going to be getting rid of the Voyager classes, or maybe they will. I don't know. But they got the longer boats, and Voyager was coming after, and I saw some of those boats in pictures. I wish I had seen them personally. She had to pull out of the Los Angeles market years back, right after Monarch sold off and then scrapped. We had the Voyager out there, but then we had trouble out in Mexico. Cartels were going after each other left and right. The gangs were going nuts. It threatened the tourist area so much that Royal Caribbean said, "Screw it, we're pulling out the market," and they stuck with the Caribbean. It's only been about 10 or 15 years since they put themselves back into the market, but I don't know if they're still going to be sailing in there or not. Would I sail if I could afford a Royal? Yeah, I would. I would. I would. Not too keen on Carnival though. Princess is a little too stuffy, but I think I like the Royal Caribbean better. But they got these long ass monsters. They could be spaceships. Engineer them right. They could be flying out from the water and into space. Too damn big. Something smaller and intimate. Not as a small yacht, but still small, still intimate, and you can still feel it. Feel the adventure. I'm looking at these monsters out there. It's like seeing Las Vegas on the water all the damn time. It's just I can't deal with this. I can't deal with that one, Arab. Anyway, I'm sorry. Driving you nuts on this one. I'll rattle your bones a little bit later on, sir. The Maltus.